And now, back to PTR Radio with Shaggy.
Who the fuck are you? You nothing. You are nothing. And you will never be anything. Never.
Colin.
Anybody know who you are? You miserable, presumptuous, no talent. You obviously don't have the talent.
And Mike, the Ape Man.
You are everything that's gone wrong in this world. You are self-consumed, no talent, mediocre piece of shit.
PTR Radio.
And welcome, everybody, to another edition of PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. And one of these days, I will figure out a subtle fade-out. But not today.
There's nothing subtle about our show.
No. No, our show is beat you over the head simple. And this week, it's 1/3 simpler. We have... Mike, we've lost 30% of our overall body weight. I mean, as a show right now.
You're being kind.
But no, unfortunately, Colin is not with us this evening. So
because right now he is losing 30% of his body weight thanks to the flu.
Or more, really, depending upon what variant will depend on which side it's coming out of.
Yeah.
Bad. Our middle grandchild actually had it, and this is how bad it is when you go to the doctor and they don't just say you had the flu. When they say, oh, you have influenza type A. Okay, when the doctor breaks out the medical terminology for flu and then there's types and subtypes, you know that you're in for a bad day. In fact, the kid was not allowed to go to school, wasn't allowed to leave the house for 3 days.
That is no good.
No, because have you ever had a 4-year-old trapped in the house for 3 days?
I've never had a 4-year-old in my house, period.
Well, just take 5 puppies, and it's about the same. So, but no, this is PTR Radio, and we are happy to be here. We are sure that Colin will get better by the next show. If not, we will be broadcasting live from his funeral, because that is the way we do it around here. And I done screwed up, and I didn't think. Hold on. I didn't think to change the title on the Facebook post.
That's all right. I'm busy looking for the damn link IP or address you gave me for the damn messages.
Yeah. That's okay, because evidently it wants me to log back into Facebook, even though I've logged into Facebook a million times. I don't know why it keeps.
Well, it's because, new security measures and Windows updates.
It is really annoying. Really, really annoying when you get all those. And we have to change that to 2. All right. So that should now be running when you get that. If not, I can send you what that is.
I want to see something. Tell me if you still hear me. Do you still hear me right now?
Yes.
Let
me get. I'm hearing a bit of extra tinniness, so I would assume that you're coming through your webcam microphone, aren't you, right now?
Yep.
Well, you could disconnect and reconnect. You doing that won't cause any problems.
Okay, I may have to do that.
So, yeah, because
I will be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
In the meantime, you can give out the contact info. In the meantime,
yeah, I
How's
can.
That?
I will do that. I will do that. So. Yes, you can get in touch with the show. You can go to our Facebook post, which is ironically named the exact same thing as what our last show was because I screwed up. Or you can go to Twitter at PTR Radio and tweet at us there. You can also get in touch with the show at 217-787-0232. That's our new phone number for those of you who have been listening for a long time. We did change our phone number to save us money. Plus, nobody ever calls, so what the hell did it matter anyway? You can also text that number. Right now, we can't take picture messages, so you can't send us your shining, beautiful faces. But we will take text messages anytime that you want to do that. So, with that said, Mike will be rejoining us shortly here with better, more improved audio. And we will be talking about a myriad of things this evening. But one of the big things I want to get to, and it probably won't be the first thing, was a senior citizen found a better way to live in his golden years. And we're going to get to that as soon as we talk first about Amazon.
All right, well, let's see. Am I still tinny?
Not nearly as bad. I can tell you're going through the gate this time.
Okay.
So facing public pressure, Amazon has pulled anti-vaccine content from Amazon Prime Video. So, Mike, all of those anti-vaccine videos that were on our double feature movie review list will now have to take off.
Yeah, because there were so many of them.
Yeah, there was nuns of them. But okay, so this raises an interesting question. All right, and I'm gonna ask this to you and our audience. It is free speech. All right. Now, we both agree that the anti-vaxxers are full of ill-informed, we'll put it ill-informed, people that are trusting junk science.
You're asking me to be politically correct about this, aren't you?
No, I'm not. No, I was trying to be polite to them, but we don't need to be. They're full of crackpots that believe a discredited scientist.
Yes.
All right. So, and the problem is, in today's age, if it's on the internet, people believe it. So, go ahead and reshare that Bill Gates thing where he's going to give a penny for every reshare.
Yes.
Go ahead and believe that some, lieutenant in the Kenyan army got your name and is willing to send you diamonds and give you 10% of all the sales. Go ahead and believe all that stuff if you really want to. But the rest of us with brains are going to look at decades upon decades of published science that says vaccines work, and there are little to no downsides. I'm not going to say there aren't any. There are some people who are allergic or have compromised immune systems where they can't use the vaccine. So there is a percentage of people who cannot use the vaccine because of their particular health situation. But then there is this fringe side that says vaccines are full of government-controlled drugs, or vaccines cause autism, or pick your poison. All right?
Yeah, so, it kills me that one of my favorite shows as of late was The Masked Singer.
Uh-huh.
And Jenny McCarthy is on there as an integral part. In fact, she is one of the executive producers. And she is arguably the face of Hollywood's anti-vaccine movement.
Yes, for sure.
And it bothers me how many people just follow along with this without doing the research.
Yeah, I mean, we had a topic, I don't think we got to it last week, of a 18-year-old boy who was not vaccinated as a child because of his mother's decision, who was very happy that now at 18 he could choose to be vaccinated. And he was appalled at the decisions that his parents made on his behalf.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you've got a good reason for not getting vaccinated, or like, example, the flu shot.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there are some people that are allergic to the actual flu shot. So I think at one point, if you were allergic to eggs, you had to get a variant of it.
Yeah, I seem to remember
maybe
that.
Like up the nasal versus the injection or something. So something like that is legit. You have a known allergy to a component of the vaccine. That makes perfect sense. But saying you would rather risk getting and spreading a debilitating disease like polio, than risk possibly getting autism.
No, wait, you gotta say being on the spectrum, Mike.
Well, now here's the other issue, okay? I was joking with Kim last week that one of the worst things that Firefox ever did is when you open up a new tab, it comes up with suggested articles.
Yeah.
And this is worse than the YouTube rabbit hole. Because I go clicking through articles, and I read one that happened to be about signs of being on the spectrum.
Uh-huh.
And one of them is sniffing everything. Okay. So I was joking with Kim. She does this. Like when we go to the supermarket, she's always smelling things. I don't know why she's doing it. But I was joking with her. I said, I read an article today that says you might be on the spectrum because of that. Biggest mistake I could have ever made in my life. Because now every time she does something, she's like, look, I'm on the spectrum. Well, let's be honest. everyone is on the spectrum now.
They're on the spectrum of something, that's for sure.
And I'm being politically correct because there are so many different variants. There's autism. There's different variants of autism. There's Asperger's.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of.
Right? So you have like socially autistic. You have situational autistic. There's a bunch of different classifications.
Yep.
And there's different degrees of them.
Sensory issues.
Yes. So basically, autism is like the restless leg syndrome of mental diseases.
I love it.
I don't want to say it was made up, but it's kind of like the new ADHD.
Yeah, it seems to be an easy go-to.
Exactly. That's the point I was trying to get to here. If you have any kind of issue that doctors are too lazy to try and dig into, they're going to say you're on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And here's some pills.
Yeah.
Or here's a therapist.
There's
no...
So, I mean, we can both agree that group is definitely ill-informed, bad decision makers, whatnot. But my question to you is, there are tons of documentaries, there are tons of biographies, there are tons of movies, whatever you want to say, that we would disagree with. Okay? That we would say, hey, that's not a good idea. There's no basis in science for this. Your premise is flawed. Your conclusion, you're propagating a misnomer. Okay? Take any conspiracy theory video out there. Okay? Any of them. Okay? But the question is, does the government, in this case, because it was a senator or congressman, do they have the right to then pressure a private company to take that content down? Okay, now I'm not saying it was a whole lot of pressure here. Amazon seems to have fairly willingly done it. All right, but the question is, should they have? Because you start to go down this rabbit hole of a slippery slope. Now, I'm usually not one to pull out the slippery slope argument, but in this case, I can see the application.
Well, this is a very slippery slope, because the minute you start removing something because some people don't agree with it, that's you're going like I'm looking at the documentary section on Amazon.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The first one that comes up is Fahrenheit 11/9.
Yeah.
Well, and that's Michael Moore's documentary, I believe, about Trump getting elected. Yeah. How do we get here and how do we get out? Okay, so if you're a Republican and offended, does that mean you're going to boycott Amazon because they're showing this movie and thereby they're promoting it?
I mean,
it's a documentary. Documentaries are almost in some way the editorial version of a movie.
Oh, most certainly.
Right? Like,
you can frame it any way you want.
I mean, you have factual documentaries that cover historical events and things like that. That's why I say they're almost. There's two different kinds of documentaries here. Then you have a documentary like, let's see, here, East Coast Mafia. What is this about? Get into it with the Gambino crime family. Okay, so that's, I guess, historical.
Here's one. Hybrid World. Unveil conspiracy theories of scientists who may be manipulating genetic codes and attempting to experiment on humanity in a hybrid world. Alien and UFO special. Uncover the truth about alien encounters never before spoken about, and eyewitness accounts of real UFO flyovers. Flat Earth Bible nonsense.
Here. The mega brothel. As Britain debates what should be done to update our antiquated prostitution laws, this film takes audiences inside one of the biggest brothels in Europe, the Paradise mega brothel chain in Germany, to explore what life is like for the girls, clients, and management. So, are they advocating prostitution?
Are they glamorizing it?
Here's my thought. There should be a way, almost like Netflix's rating system, where if you dislike something, they don't recommend similar titles.
Yeah.
Just because it's on Prime doesn't mean you have to watch it.
Exactly.
So
We've
you
always
should be
had
able
the
to-
freedom of choice.
You should be able to hide. If you don't want to see movies like that or you don't agree with them, hide them.
You know, I don't like listening to Rush Limbaugh, so I don't listen to Rush Limbaugh.
Exactly.
You know? So, I mean, I don't think we need overreach, because certainly we wouldn't want to be censored. I mean, I'm sure that we have said things on this show that aren't that aren't popular opinions, and I would never want us to be, censored that way.
We're going on what, our
oh God
15th 16th year of doing internet broadcasting.
Yeah,
not necessarily on the show,
right?
I was on that other show for a while.
But
we're pretty much going in. We've been doing this for over a decade and a half.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you go back through the archives, in fact, I could guarantee if you go back through the archives, especially when I was on that other show, I have said some stuff that would make your skin crawl.
If we haven't offended somebody by this time, we haven't done our jobs. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, we are never going to make 100% of the people happy 100% of the time. Our goal is 50% of the people happy 50% of the time. If you don't like what's happening right now, wait a half an hour, and we're going to be bashing the group that you like, that you dislike. But right now we happen to be bashing your group. That's just the way it is. And you're not allowed to laugh at the jokes against the people you dislike and not laugh at the jokes about your group. I mean, you just can't do that. If you're listening to this show, you have to understand that, we're equal opportunists. All right. We will make fun of anybody, and we probably have.
Now, at the same time, this could relate to the whole, are companies required for their health insurance to cover birth control type argument? I'm thinking like Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Or Hobby Lobby. Both.
So you're saying their government interaction is a good thing?
Well, see, now this is a little different here, because in those cases, it's the CEO and the board, which are, very Christian families, pushing their beliefs downward. Whereas this is the public pressuring a company. But again, it's more about, so in this case, the people are the equivalent of the folks that run those companies saying, we're Christian, we don't believe in birth control, therefore our insurance should not cover it.
Well, see, but I think it is slightly different, because like we said, with this issue, we think it should be fine. Leave it on Amazon. You have a choice. All right?
Right.
You have a choice not to watch it. So government saying, hey, listen, your health insurance needs to offer the option of birth control. Whether or not the employees take it up is at their discretion. But you have to include it as part of your plan so that they can elect to or not to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Okay, so the government is actually it's there. Yeah. Okay. I guess maybe that was a bad example.
No, I think you were a really good example. I think enough people don't look at it the way that I explained it, as the government isn't saying just because your company offers birth control, you got to get those pills and you got to take them every day. They're saying it's at your discretion. And enough people don't realize that just about everything in life is at your discretion, okay? You don't have to do things. You have to pay taxes and you have to die. That's all you have to do in this life, all right?
One, you don't actually have to pay taxes.
Oh, wait a second. Are you going to give us tax law? Because it's coming up on April 15th.
No, I'm not giving any tax law. I'm not saying there are consequences, but you don't have to pay taxes.
That's true. I guess if you want to, I should rephrase that. If you want to avoid jail, you got to pay taxes.
Or you have to move somewhere where there is no such thing as taxes. But I would argue that in order to die, one must live. So there are actually two things that you have to do.
I guess so. And if you expect us to say, at what point are you living, that's not a conversation we're getting into.
No.
That ain't going to happen. No matter what topic.
Isn't that a lyric from a song? There's a difference between living and being alive?
I think so. Speaking about the other end and dying, an article I am very interested in, because I have, and Mike, I think you can probably somewhat relate to this, having some some elderly grandparents that were living at home. I know you've also dealt with people in retirement home communities. So you and I both know that the price of care at a home, be it independent living, being at a full-time retirement home, be it, individualized care, whatever, is ridiculous in this country, at least. All right. Maybe some other country, it's quite affordable, but here, at least, if you want to live out your golden years and have someone take care of you that isn't family, you better have plenty of money in the bank because it's pricey. In fact, I just received word that for the cost of one person to get care in a retirement home, it was, and this is, full service. He was basically wheelchair bound and, needed medications and all that other fun stuff. $5,700 a month. All right. That's what the charge was going to be. Okay. So that's New York City rent money right there. That's what that is.
Yeah. And that's low compared to this article. This article says that the average is about $100,000 a year.
Yeah. So, so this guy said, wait a second, I got a better idea. I got a way that I could do this cheaper. So a Texas man is planning to spend his retirement years at Holiday Inns across the country instead of moving into a nursing home in an effort to cut costs. Terry Robinson of Spring, Texas, listed his reasons for spending his golden years as a customer of the hotel chain in a viral post on Facebook earlier this month. While the average cost of a nursing home can run around $188 per day, Robinson wrote in the post that reservations at a Holiday Inn cost around $59.23 per night with a combined long-term stay discount and senior discount. Makes perfect sense to me. We had an article on the show not that long ago about a lady who was living on a cruise ship. She was living out her golden years on a cruise ship because it was cheaper. It was the same price. And she goes, now I get to go everywhere. People take care of me. They always know me at the buffet lines. They take care of my room linens. I'm in good health, so there's no reason not to. I mean, if you don't need actual nursing care, but you don't want to deal with maintenance, you don't want to deal with laundry, you don't want to deal with all that kind of stuff, then why not? He says, breakfast is included, and some even have happy hours in the afternoon. That leaves $128.77 a day for lunch and dinner in any restaurant he wants, or room service, laundry, gratuities, and special TV movies. Plus, they provide a spa, swimming pool, a workout room, a lounge, and a washer-dryer. Most have free toothpaste and razors, and all have free shampoo and soap. Adding that $5 worth of tips a day, you'll have the entire staff scrambling to help you. Which I don't think I've ever tipped a Holiday Inn person. But I bet that if you give the maid $5, she will make sure that your bed is actually changed out every day.
Yeah.
And not just the comforter redraped over it. They treat you like a customer, not a patient. Call an ambulance or the undertaker if anything bad happens.
Yeah. So,
he makes a good point.
I mean, the only logistical part about this, and we talked about this when we talked about the whole RV thing, is having a mailing address.
Yeah.
That's the only logistical issue that you need to figure out. But as we said, there are services you can do, or if you have family.
Well, and if he's a regular at a Holiday Inn, I bet they'd take his mail.
They probably would.
If it's a long-term Holiday Inn, like some of them are, where you've got I'm thinking of like the Homewood Suites type Holiday Inns, where sometimes they're rented out for, consultants who will come in and do a 3-month stint or whatever. I'm sure you can get mail delivered there. Who knows? Maybe they'll even take it to your room for you.
If you really wanted to be smart, you would file as an LLC.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're retired from your career, but you have this hobby business.
Leisure Incorporated.
Where you take photographs and blog them.
Yeah, professional blogger.
So, traveling is a requirement.
Yeah, and that's one of the things he said. He goes, you know what? If I want to go someplace, I just find another Holiday Inn. Boom, I'm there. Which means you're traveling light because, you can't really keep all your stuff. you're going to have probably, a couple weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks worth of clothes at the most. But if that's all you've got, pretty simple. I mean, no big deal. He goes, yeah, grandkids can use the pool. I mean, there's Holiday Inns everywhere.
Let's see what the rewards program is like for Holiday Inn.
Yeah, I mean, and usually it's like you stay 10 nights, you get the 11th one free. So, I mean, just think about that, too. I mean, I don't know that he's factoring in all these bonuses. I mean, just think about the rewards points that he would be willing to somebody else when he passes away.
Like up in the air.
I mean, look at this. You get cable. You get Wi-Fi. And I'm sure with the amount of stays he gets, he would get the upgraded Wi-Fi. You
get 10 points for every dollar you spend.
Yeah. So, Robinson also said that he would be able to travel anywhere he wants within the retirement plan, as the Holiday Inn has more than 1,100 locations across the world. As for family visits, Robinson wrote, they will always be glad to find you and will probably check in for a few days mini vacation. That's true. You don't have to worry about where will the family sleep. That's
full price. I'm guessing for the rewards.
Yeah. I would think about the Mike, if family comes to visit, you're going to send them to a hotel probably anyway. Okay? Well,
yeah.
They're right next door or on another floor.
Yeah, and if you're staying there that long and that regularly, chances are the front desk will be like, "Hey, listen, I got family coming in. Can you make sure 305 is open next week?"
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Exactly. And they would probably do things like, "Hey, you know what? It's your 1-year anniversary staying with us. We got you a suite this week. Same rate as a single." I mean, come on. If you saw somebody every single day, just think that guy would see turnover of staff. Hell, he could get a part-time job working at the hotel, running the breakfast buffet. That's usually the older people there doing that anyway.
Social director.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it would definitely be worth a shot. And that's not going away.
Definitely would be. It's definitely something to consider. I mean, like you said, if you're in good health, then this is something that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't kind of do that. So, all right, Mike, pick the next one.
Let's see. I kind of wanted to talk about this one, but knowing that Colin's not here, I think we're going to need to wait to talk about this whole Bones Fox lawsuit thing. So let's talk about, I was so happy when this one came up.
Okay.
About wedding.
Oh, yeah.
And a vegan bride banned any guests that were meat eaters and her mom from their wedding.
Isn't that just crazy?
Saying, we don't want to host murderers. Now, this gave me the opportunity to come up to post this to the thing with my favorite thing. Why? Because vegan.
Yeah.
People, listen. Now, Colin said that this happened down in Australia, it seems.
Yeah. They're a bit weird down under.
The Aussie woman took to a vegan group on Facebook. Oh, of course, there's a vegan group on Facebook. There's probably multiple vegan groups on Facebook, and they have a picture. They have my picture with a reward on it, looking for support, but got a rude awakening when her fellow meat-free members slammed her for the controversial decision. Yes, these are the kind of vegan people that I would like to meet, because all the ones that I have met are very militant.
Oh, yes.
If you are not vegan, you're wrong.
So
these vegans sound like, yeah, it's not for everyone. So what are you going to do here?
Yeah,
it's your mom.
So here is her exact post. When family tries to guilt trip you into letting them come to your fully vegan wedding, even though they are omnivores, crying face. Just for some context, some family members were told they are not invited to my wedding because we don't want to host murderers at our wedding, which is supposed to be one of the happiest days of our lives. All right, now some of the posts definitely not like Mike said, in her favor. As a vegan, this is messed up. You can't go around calling your family murderers. She is out of her mind. I'd be happy to cut her off of my life if I were the family.
And see, here's reasonable. I totally understand serving vegan food exclusively. That makes sense. But banning people and calling them murderers is just ridiculous.
Yeah. My cousin had a perfectly delicious vegan buffet at her wedding, and all the carnivores had a great time. So this would have been a great way to show off her vegan lifestyle and prove the food is delicious. You know?
Yeah. So then she tries to say that they've constantly attacked me and my partner just for being vegan. She said, adding that since they've been planning their wedding, the family members were now being all buddy again. Okay, let me just stop. Let me stop you right there. Okay, nobody's going to believe this.
No,
nobody. If they're that hardcore against you as being vegan, they're not going to be nice to come to a vegan wedding. If I don't like you that much, and then you're getting married, I'm not going to kiss your ass just to get invited to your wedding. I'm going to keep the money I would have to give you at this wedding, and I'm going to go buy myself a nice bottle of hooch or whatever, and I'll get drunk on my couch by myself.
Yeah, I'm going to call it Screw You Vino, and I'm just going to drink it all yeah. No, I completely agree. It goes along with the same thing of one of my pet peeves is when people say, when there's somebody abrasive at work, and they go, oh, well, he's completely different outside of work. Well, if I can't stand him during the day, why would I want to hang out with him after work? That don't make no damn sense. Just like this doesn't make any sense at all.
I've had people with that excuse. And sometimes, yes, you know what? There are people that are useless at work because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But they're cool as hell to hang out with outside of work.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody being rude and being a know-it-all and what have you, very, very, very rare that you see a different side of them outside of work.
Yeah. No, because you can't change who you are. No. 5 o'clock doesn't change who you are.
No. Beer might.
Yeah. Well, beer can usually turn you into a worse person.
Or make it easier to tolerate the...
Yeah, that's true.
They don't call it a social lubricant for nothing.
Here it goes. I just got uninvited to a wedding that I was meant to be a bridesmaid for because I'm not vegan in this article. To make matters worse, this girl is family who I've grown up with my whole life. How bad is that? You start axing your bridesmaids, I don't get it. I don't get it. But you're right. There's a militant side to this veganism. You want to talk about videos that are okay to ban? Ban videos on Amazon about veganism. Yeah. That's got to be stopped. There is no freedom of speech for those people.
Listen, you want to see one of those militant vegans' heads explode? Just tell them, let's see. Okay. It's not. And then, okay, Colin writing in. Yeah, nothing from the groom side, of course, because no groom is going to go putting any of this shit out on Facebook.
No, right? He's not dumb. Nor is, and plus, let's be honest, the groom side of the wedding planning is showing up. All right, he just wants to get married and show up. He doesn't want to help you with who's going to sit next to who. He doesn't care if it's chicken or fish. He doesn't care what flavor the cake is.
Well,
unless he's allergic.
He doesn't care if it's tofu or tofu.
Yeah. He doesn't,
This is how you make one of those militant vegans' heads explode. You're trying to save the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the largest contributors to greenhouse gases, which destroys the planet, is cows. What should we do with all of those cows? You can get rid of the electric cars, but there'll still be cows.
Yeah.
What do we do with them?
We could all ride.
You see them just
we could all ride rickshaws to work every day and wear hemp clothing, but there'll still be cows.
cows will still be damaging the greenhouse gases.
And unchecked, they'll just keep breeding and breeding and breeding and breeding.
So
and
what
growing
do we do?
Plumper and bigger and bigger. Yeah.
We'll just have to castrate all of the male cows so that they can't reproduce. Then you're contributing to the extinction of a species, which is exactly what veganism is trying to avoid.
Oh, then you're going to get PETA
You're
after
saying
you.
you want to get rid of all the cows.
Well, if they're a vegan, they're usually with PETA as well. They don't want to see anything bad happen to the cows.
So
I love your logic. I'm going to use that next time. I'm going to have to use that next time.
Watch them. They're just going to be like, they're not going to know what to do. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the cows, but there are starving people around the world that could eat that meat.
What else are we going to do? If we do anything else with them, it's bad for the environment.
You don't eat them and just let them decompose. That's even more gas.
All right.
Global warming.
Oh my God. So so it was like 4 degrees this morning here. All right. I get into the elevator. Guy slides in next to me. And I go, kind of breezy outside. A little chilly. Kind of like last week when it was up in the 40s. And he goes, yeah, really missed that global warming. And I just thought, man, you're stupid. I don't even want to continue this nonsense conversation for this one floor we have to write up in the elevator.
I used to love when people would be like, hey, cold enough for you? Can you make it colder for me? I can still feel one of my toes. Can you make it cold enough for you? What the hell kind of question is that? That's just stupid. I was just trying to make awkward small talk in the elevator, because if it's only 2 people, you're almost socially mandated to do that. If there's more than 2, then no, it's silence the whole ride, no matter what. If there are only 2 people in the elevator, and I'm one of those 2 people, I will stand with my back to the door. I will face them the entire time.
Just stare them down.
Yep.
I happen to know that we were getting off at the same floor.
Oh, well, okay, that's a little different.
Yeah. Yeah. I there's only 3 stories in this building, and we both got on at the first floor. So,
of course, then the vegan Nazi in me is saying, well, why didn't you take the stairs if it's only 1 floor?
Yeah, I know. I should take the stairs, but fat me went out this morning.
Elevators use electricity, and I guarantee your building's not solar.
Oh my God, we have 3 elevators and only 1 works. We have had 2 elevators out of commission for the last 3 months.
Maybe you could put all the cows in the basement and harness the methane and use that to run your building.
This episode's title: What about the cows?
Yes.
Well, you probably didn't see the title for the last episode. It was Pervy Possible and Chair Chat. So I was quite proud of that title.
I still can't believe we spent that much time talking about Colin's damn chair.
I actually put in the description, we literally ran out of things to talk about. We talked about everything on the internet.
Bounced all over the place. So let's talk about.
Let's talk about the first story that you posted when we were starting to plan out this show. A new, is it going to be a biopic? Is that what it's going to be?
Yep.
Now, this is kind of weird.
Hulk Hogan, who does deserve a biopic. I think without Hulk Hogan, I honestly believe there would be no WWE today.
All right, I agree with you.
All right. He was one of the celebrities that made wrestling mainstream.
Yeah, he definitely was one of the 80s icons that I remember, which is, late 80s is when I actually paid attention to it.
Right, and he wasn't a great wrestler by any means.
No, but he perfected the work.
He was charismatic.
Yeah.
That's it. He was that generation's version of The Rock. The Rock is not an incredible wrestler.
No.
The Rock is an incredible performer.
Yeah.
And that's why he's been able to parlay that into a huge acting career.
Yeah, because that's 80% of wrestling was acting. Now, as Sal told us, you can't fake gravity. Okay.
Correct.
So there is definitely a physical component to it. There is no doubt about that. All right. But you have to know how to play off of the other person in the ring with you. You have to know how to play the crowd. You have to know your scene. All right. Now, Hulk Hogan knew how to do that. He knew how to take a beating, okay, a pretend beating, but a beating nonetheless. All right. And then seem to pull himself up out of his boot, from his bootstraps and just barely make it to the rope. And then, hear from the audience, them chanting his name. And then that magically revitalized him so that he could go and he could win the match. I mean, that was his magic. All right.
That and his outside of the ring character when he was doing the interviews and stuff. His promos were they were commercials for his match.
But let's not forget, without Mean Gene Okerlund, none of those would have been nearly what they were, But yeah, no,
So
there was an Andre the Giant one.
Well, Andre the Giant's was a biography.
True.
Right? Using actual footage of Andre the Giant. Here is how they would do Andre the Giant's. Same way that they filmed Peter Dinklage for Infinity War.
They would find a small man and make everything very small around him to make it large.
Well, do you remember him in Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
He was a giant little man.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So same way they did.
When you heard Peter Dinklage was going to be in Infinity War, you thought, oh, they're going to a planet of elves. But no. He's giant.
I mean, you think about it. He's one of the few people that has played two different semi-major characters in the Marvel Universe. Because he also played, not Stryker. Who was it in Days of Future Past?
I don't know because I didn't watch.
He Trask. Bolivar Trask.
Okay.
Which I still don't understand how Mystique transformed into him.
Yeah.
But, so we're talking about, yes, there is a Hulk Hogan biopic coming, and Thor is playing Hulk Hogan. Chris Hemsworth is playing Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Not exactly sure how that's going to work.
I don't know. It's got to be a great script for him to take that. Because he can be picky right now. I mean, all of the Chris's are riding high in Hollywood. Maybe not Chris Pine quite so much. But, Evans, Pratt, Hemsworth, they've kind of got their pick of the litter as far as scripts, I would think. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would think so.
So it's got to be either a true passion project for him, or it's got to be really good. It's just got to be something he thinks is going to be great.
Or he's doing this to show he's got
range,
the acting ability.
Yeah.
Because this is not the kind of role you want to screw up.
Well, if the movie's a bomb, it's not going to matter right now. Okay? He's allowed one screw up during his big run.
That's true.
Okay? So, Chris Pine got away with A Wrinkle in Time. Okay? Because he had Star Treks on either side of it.
Yeah. Okay, so what was his excuse for Jack Ryan?
Well, that was a series, though, wasn't it?
No, didn't he play Jack Ryan's shadow recruit in the movies with Kevin Costner?
I'm not sure.
Yes, he did. You're thinking of John Krasinski with the Amazon series, right?
Yeah, I guess I thought Pine was in the Amazon series. Well, maybe it's because he knew that he had Wonder Woman coming out.
Well, yeah, true.
You know,
even though that was allegedly a one and done, but who knows now?
No, I think they're coming. I think they're going back.
All I know, yeah, but his character died at the end of the last one. So
yeah,
unless DC somehow pulls a Marvel and messes up the timeline, man, okay. Let's talk about Dark Phoenix for a second here, because this is the end of the X-Men era as we know it.
Yep.
And the second trailer came out.
Now I will tell you, I haven't watched either, because I lost my interest for X-Men after they started the Youngins.
Okay. Let me just say, after watching both of these trailers, I have not been this excited for an X-Men movie in a long time.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I was excited for First Class when it first came out. Not so much because of the Young Mutants, but the young Xavier and the young Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking forward to their stories. But seeing the trailers for Dark Phoenix, wow.
Now, did they throw away all of the previous X-Men movie canon?
No.
Because I didn't think that Dark Phoenix happened in the original run.
Well, Dark Phoenix in the original run was actually the subplot to the third one, The Last Stand.
Okay.
That's why Jean got all evil at the end. They never said Dark Phoenix. But similar circumstances.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, X-Men was like the first one was good, and, second one okay, but then they started splitting and running off, and I couldn't keep up with them, and it just wasn't my favorite, really. So by that time, Iron Man had come out, and I'm like, oh, all right, I like this. This is where we're going now. So, by the way, if you're into comic movies, one of our movies tonight that we're reviewing stars one of the Fantastic Four. So, might be something to keep your ear out for during the last half hour of the show.
Actually, both of the movies have
star
comic book.
Yes, one movie, one TV show.
No, two movies.
Two movies.
But we'll
get to it later. Yep. So you're looking forward to this a lot, though.
There we go.
Colin from the bathroom writing in, Dark Phoenix is the worst X-Men plotline, in my opinion.
As someone who didn't read the comic books, so I don't know the full backstory. After seeing the two trailers, I can honestly say that I am excited about this. I think it looks like a fitting end to this era of the X-Men.
Yeah.
Because I have already read that after Dark Phoenix, with the exception of Deadpool, all of the X-Men characters are going to be recast as part of the next phase of the Marvel universe, where the X-Men come in with the Avengers, because Marvel, Fox, Disney, Fox is giving up their rights. Disney and Marvel now all together under one roof.
Yeah. Which will be interesting. Upcoming out of the X-Men series, we have a Gambit movie in March of 2020.
Is that still on? Because I had heard that's donezo, but...
so far, reading that, March 2021, supposedly there's an X-Force. They're just codenaming it X-Force with Deadpool 3. Kitty Pryde, possibly, coming out as well.
How the hell are you going to do an entire movie just around Kitty Pryde?
Silver Surfer movie, possible, as well. So, it'll be interesting nonetheless. And
then I'm reading that DC movies, they're saying now that their universe is not going to be interconnected, that it's going to be all standalone franchises, that because Justice League was just
abysmal.
Terrible.
Yeah, they have decided. I read that headline the other day saying that they realize their strength is not in the United DCU, and that they are better off doing because really the movies that have done well for them, Aquaman has done well, Wonder Woman did well. Any of the team up movies haven't even made back what they cost. Yep. So, Dawn of the Justice League lost $200 million because it took so long to make, went through so many directors and writers, and needed so much reshooting. That movie cost almost $500 million to make. And
200,000 of that was because of Henry Cavill's mustache on the reshoots.
So, I mean, what are they going to do? I think maybe they are better off with... I think that they are better off with doing origin stories. I mean, I think that maybe they would be better off focusing on their TV franchises because they seem to be doing very well on the TV side of things. I mean, you look
pretty much everything was renewed, but I'm hearing that Arrow and Legends are going to be done after their next season.
Could be. You've got a cast there that is not spring chickens. That maybe want to move on to other things. I'm honestly, I love Legends of Tomorrow, and that will show a little bit later in the show as well. But I'm honestly surprised that it has gotten on as well as it has, and that it has lasted this long. I really thought that it was going to be a smolder and a burnout fast because some of their storylines haven't been honestly the best. But they have a very dedicated fan base.
I think the reasons why Legends is doing so well is the same reason that Once Upon a Time did as well as it did for so long. They have the ability to bring in and let characters go.
Yeah.
So they can keep the team fresh while keeping a core group together.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason why NCIS is still on the air, right? You keep a couple of core members, but the other ones you can let go, and you can cycle in and cycle out. People are going to be pissed at first, but they will get over it quickly. So, so moving through the sheet here. So that's a little bit of the Hulk Hogan thing. So Nike has put out a firmware update for their all-electronic self-lacing shoes and suggested to users if you're having problems, please turn it off and on again. Their firmware update has, to some pairs of shoes, bricked people's shoes. Never before have I been happy to have analog shoes. But evidently, if you install this firmware update, it could potentially brick your $350 sneakers.
I can't even.
I mean, come on. Really?
Look, I don't wear Nikes.
No, me neither.
Right? In fact, I struggle buying sneakers anymore because I can't believe how expensive sneakers have gotten. But, Colin, why would you type this now?
Type it in a half an hour.
But yeah, no. Exactly.
He probably won't be awake in a half an hour.
Yeah, fair enough. But when I heard that their shoes had firmware, okay, right there, that's flag number one.
How hard is it to program Tighten, untighten, Tighten, untighten? I mean, it's a binary bit. On, off, on, off.
But,
although according to the article, you have varying levels of tightness. Well, that's what I was going to say.
It's like a 1 to 100 tension ratio here, right?
Yeah.
Like different settings. But
I wonder if it's like your car where you have profiles. So like if your shoes, they're your shoes, and you have a profile setting of like 66% tight. But then you could loan your shoes to a buddy, and he has profile number 2 because he happens to wear the same size as you. Well, he likes 69% tight. So he has a secondary profile.
Okay, so first of all, I don't like any of my friends enough to let them borrow my shoes. Second of all, I don't like any of my friends. I don't like anybody enough to let them borrow my $300 pair of shoes. I skeeve people as it is, and putting your feet in my shoes, no, that don't happen. I can't.
I think that's a woman thing. Do women share shoes?
Yeah,
I think they do. But
yeah, well, women also get pedicures and do
yeah,
all of this freaking pumice shit and whatever with their feet.
Yeah, they take better care of their stuff than we do.
They do. But I love some of the comments on this though. Like,
yeah,
where'd it go? Language Nike used to shoot itself in the foot. One must ask, what language did Nike use to program shooting itself in the foot?
My left shoe won't even reboot.
Yeah. Well, there's your problem. You should try and reshoot.
Poor guy just going in circles now. It's not Jed.
If it won't reboot, then it must be dead. Don't be too upset, though. It's probably in heaven. Turns out shoes have souls.
The pinnacle of technological development, it would seem.
One more thing on the list of things that should not have software. Correct. The Internet of Things does not have to touch everything.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
And the irony that this comes out not long after the college basketball phenom Zion Williamson.
Oh yeah, when his
30 seconds into a game rips the sole of his Nike shoe clean off.
I wonder if they'll blame it on a security exploit. Was his shoe hacked?
Apparently, Nike executives went into a lockdown meeting. They confiscated the shoes. They went into a lockdown trying to figure out what happened. The best reaction out of all of that was Puma. In a now deleted tweet, tweeting out with the clip, "This wouldn't have happened if you were wearing Pumas."
Well, it was high visibility, potentially big damage for them. I mean, I could definitely see it.
Yes, so you have to have that factored in to the Internet of Feet.
The IOF. It's an IOF! Or an iOS. It's iOS. It's Internet of Shoes. That's the only iOS I'll actually get behind. Oh, my God.
Alexa, tighten my shoes.
I can't do that right now. I don't know how to do that right now. Would you like me to Google it? Oh.
I haven't figured out how to do that, but I'm working on it. Yeah,
should have read the SH, the Shula. It was in the print. Oh, here we go. In this case, it wasn't an update, but a firmware bug. They missed some bounds checking or something, so the player's foot ended up beyond the container. Shoe space.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so apparently this Microsoft Desktop as a Service is gaining steam again.
Oh, yeah.
That instead of owning Windows, you'll rent it by the month.
Oh, it's always it's always a fear. And it's always a possibility. When they gave everyone free upgrades from Windows 7 all the way to Windows 10, you had to know something was coming. All right. First it was, we're going to advertise to you on the world's worst start button. Then it was, we're going to advertise to you on the screensaver. All right, which both those things have happened, by the way. Now it's you want to stay up to date? Oh, well, sign up for a service plan. Because as anyone who has been in Microsoft technology for a long time will tell you, the biggest competitor to Microsoft's current version of software is their previous version of software. Because most of the time, their new version has bells and whistles that you didn't ask for and you don't need. So you have no reason to upgrade. That's the whole reason why people are still running Office 2007. All right. The only reason why they're upgrading at all is because Windows 10 said, no, I ain't going to install it no more. So, and that's a problem with software in general. It's not just Microsoft. It's just about everybody out there. So, don't think that they're particularly the worst at it. They actually have given you the longest free ride ever for most of these, But the day will come, whether it's now or in the future, where you will be renting your operating system, essentially. But that's going to come with some caveats. Because the moment that you're renting it, suddenly now they have to take a lot more responsibility for security updates, for support responsibilities, all that kind of stuff, because, it's going to be expected. And the answer of turn it off and turn it on again will start to not fly nearly as well as what it has in the past.
Yes.
Well,
and this is where it's going to come. You're going to see people finally starting to embrace Linux distributions.
There definitely might be those, because we're already seeing this problem with Mac OS. All right, Mac OS, they're starting to really push people to, hey, if you want to use the latest hardware, you got to use the latest software, and you need to stay up to date. Okay, Microsoft's going to do the same thing, and they're going to end up getting in bed with hardware manufacturers to say, hey, if you want to keep running the latest PCs, then you need to run the latest operating system. And one of the things that you'll find is, if you've done anything with Microsoft's cloud services, they've already started doing this. So if you're running, say, SQL Server on the cloud, okay, you're running the latest and greatest version of SQL Server, and they're basically patching as they go. They don't have traditional outages where they apply patches. They're just patching as they go along, which can cause problems because a patch may break your code and you don't know about it until the next day, where, unbeknownst to you, Microsoft's applied a patch and now your software doesn't work anymore. Okay, now imagine that with an operating system. We've seen them push out patches to desktops where you go and run a Windows install and suddenly your machine doesn't boot anymore. Okay, they most definitely have done that. It's documented. Okay, and then the next day they pulled that patch back and say, "Oh wait, we screwed up. We're gonna redo it, and in 2 months we'll push it back out again after we fixed it." Well, you can't do that when you're doing real-time updates to workstations because they're part of a managed service. Okay, so they are going to have to step up their quality control measures a lot.
Well, but now I was going to say that this might drive me to go Mac if my only option is this monthly fee for a computer. Because,
I'm going to tell you, Mac's going to end up doing the same thing.
Well, yes and no. Here's why I think no. Because Apple controls the hardware and the software.
And they're going to get more in bed with the hardware. Strong rumor has it they're going to start manufacturing they're going to start contracting to manufacture their own processors.
Okay, so if they're making the money on the hardware, the software is kind of, I'm looking at it as a bundle. I don't see it as people aren't going to pay $2,000 for an iMac or a Mac Pro, whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah. Yeah.
People aren't going to pay $2,000 for it and then pay monthly on top of it to keep using that machine. I
think you're underestimating the loyalty of that particular brand, because they most certainly will, because they're the idiots that will pay, $4,000 for a $2,000 desktop now.
But if Microsoft goes to this and forces people away, and Apple suddenly sees a spike in their sales, they may just stay status quo, at least for a little while longer, until I die.
Yeah, we only have to wait another 60 years or so. If we can hold out that long, Mike, then we're okay.
I'll be running Windows 10 until I die at this point.
That's right.
Like one of the comments in this thread here, Microsoft wasn't lying that Windows 10 was the last operating system you'll ever buy. Yeah, because you're going to have to rent it from now on.
Exactly. And there's not,
But yeah, Microsoft has kind of been moving to this. Look at Office 365.
Yeah, they did it.
A lot.
They're testing the waters with Office 365 right now. You can buy Office 2016 if you really want to. If you want to pay $400 a copy, or go through some back channels and buy it significantly cheaper. But otherwise you're locked into 365, and with that, now they've got your data too. Yep. Now you've got an email address for them. Now you've got your OneDrive on them, and the value to them isn't necessarily you having them selling you the software. The value is everything else. The value is the data about you. I'm not usually one of these guys, but the point is, if you're using their products, they know what you're doing. Okay?
Yep.
You can't tell me that they aren't knowledgeable about what you are writing about, what your documents, what your pictures are, and everything like that. The question is, are you okay with trading off that for the convenience? To some degree, in some situations, I am. Okay? Nothing's better than me going to Google Photos, being able to put in a name and have it find me all the pictures of that person. Because I hate looking through my 10,000 and some odd pictures trying to find Uncle Larry, when I can just type in his name and Google says, oh, I ran him through facial recognition. Here he is. By the way, the feds now know what he looks like too. I'm like, that's fine. Uncle Larry needs to go to jail. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that.
Uncle Larry.
So, while we're on the topic of information and the cost of it, let's talk about Kroger for a little bit. Now, Mike, I don't know if you're like me, but the days of paying cash or check for groceries has long passed for me.
Occasionally, I will pay cash, but that's only if I happen to have cash and it's a small purchase, but I agree with you.
Yeah. Now, this does not affect debit cards, but Kroger, the food chain, says using a Visa credit card to pay for bread, milk, steak, and other foods is second nature to many shoppers, but now they need to pause before pulling out the plastic. Kroger plans to stop accepting Visa cards April 3rd at 142 of its supermarkets and 108 gas stations in 7 states. The move is an expansion of a ban which started in August, where Kroger stopped accepting Visa cards in about 24 locations in California. The nation's largest grocer said it could further expand the ban, which stems from beef over high fees and could force customers to use cash and competing cards. So, anytime you use a credit card, be it a debit card or a credit card, there's a transaction fee associated with this. Mike is a small business owner. You guys know that. It costs money to make money. That is the law of the land, right? Now, depending upon the volume of transactions, will tell you what your particular rate is for processing that transaction with a particular vendor, traditionally. Sometimes you can join up with things like Authorize.net, PayPal, etc., and they will negotiate the rates for you and just say, okay, here is your rate for all the vendors. I particularly know Authorize.net. It is, you say, I want to sign up for this one, I want to sign up for this one, I want to sign up for this one, and they will tell you, okay, this is the rate for this is the rate for this is the rate for this. I have a customer who takes Authorize.net. He can't take Discover cards because that fee was just too high to process Discover cards for him. So he takes MasterCard, Visa, American Express. So about once a month, we end up with somebody that tried to process a Discover card, puts in a help desk ticket because they couldn't do their order. Even though it says in big red bold letters, we do not take Discover.
Yeah.
So
and that's why a lot of places didn't take American Express for a long time.
Well, and that's why Diners Club died out.
Yep.
I mean, so it costs money, and in this case, Kroger's is saying, listen, we're not going to be held to this ridiculously high rate that Visa wants to charge us for their credit card transactions. Now, typically, the charge put on debit card transactions is passed off to the bank, not to the actual business that you're buying from. So, those are basically, it's a fancy ETF is what it is. That's how behind the scenes it's kind of looked at.
But using a debit card, though, means that you have to have that cash back it up.
Exactly.
And for a lot of people, that may be a problem. There's going to be an adjustment here.
Yeah.
Now, this is really no different than when BJ's first opened up. They only took the BJ's credit card and Discover.
Yeah, and on the other side of it, Sam's Club, the Walmart alternative, they take debit card and they take the Sam's Club card, which is really just a MasterCard, and then they take Discover. And that's all that they take. They don't take your traditional Visa credit card or Master credit card. So, you have to take what they accept. Kroger is just, this is kind of like, you don't see this as much in general businesses where they restrict what type of cards they process. I mean, in boutique businesses, yes, but the nation's largest grocery retailer, it's not that common. Okay? Usually they're going to take whatever they can get because they're going after the money. In this case, they don't think it's going to affect their sales that much because most people nowadays, it's not like the 70s where, you had 1 or 2 credit cards at the most and you were paying cash and check for everything. Nowadays, you got a stack on your wallet about that thick, and they're all credit cards. I mean, heck, when Mike and I were going to college, hey, I need a T-shirt because I don't want to do laundry before tomorrow. Oh, I'll just go sign up for a credit card. Okay, that's how easy it was.
Oh yeah, I remember being in the student center. Hey, if you sign up for a credit card, we'll give you a Hershey bar. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go take a shower. Oh, there's a stand that gives you a towel for a credit card application on the way to the shower. I mean, they were everywhere. When the government talks about predatory lending agents, that's one of the things they were talking about, and that's one of the things that they actually did fix, or at least try and reduce a little bit. Today, it's actually a lot more difficult for kids to get credit cards. Again, not a bad thing, because I can remember spending a lot of money thinking, oh, I have this magic plastic card. It's just here, and I don't ever have to worry about it.
Right.
No, the bill does come due. And you don't realize that when your interest rate is 24.9%, how much that adds up to. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot more choice in the credit card market today for people, and every time you turn around, at least if you have a decent credit rating, you're getting bombarded with a credit card offer somewhere. But, like I said, I don't think Kroger's probably right. They're probably not going to lose a lot of business on this. But that's not true for all the small business. I mean, there are not a lot of small businesses that could make a decision like this. I don't think.
Well, no, and that's just it. Like you said, we do our processing through Square. And Square is very similar to PayPal. You can almost think of it as like a co-op.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Square does not care what kind of business we're doing. They don't care how much. Square goes to the credit card processors, Visa, MasterCard, whatever, Discover, and says, we have this many users doing this much business. Give us a better rate.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah, it's the bulk discount method at its best,
Right, and those companies make their money because they tack on 50 cents a transaction or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe you're getting a lower rate, and maybe you are paying a per transaction fee, but the alternative is you pay three times as much.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to work with businesses that are doing credit card transactions themselves or through a local bank, and I look at what they're paying, and I'm like, you guys could almost do better if you took it on Square, if you took it on PayPal. And they're like, yeah, but then we'd have to transfer it to our bank, and it's just a bunch of, it's not as convenient. Okay, these percentages, they add up, man.
Yep.
So, and a lot of that's the older generation. They're just used to dealing with the banker down the street that I can go and I can talk to and I can yell at when something's wrong.
I mean, what I'm seeing as a trend now is the store credit cards that I had. My Target card is one.
Yeah.
My Care credit card, which I call my vet card.
Yeah.
They have, without me even asking, they converted them to actual credit cards.
Oh.
So my Target card is now a MasterCard that can be used anywhere.
Yeah.
My Care credit card is a card that can be used anywhere.
For anything.
For anything. I think the only two that have not gone that route are my Home Depot card and my Lowe's card.
Yeah, and it's crazy. All the different places go, hey, would you like to sign up for our card? Well, I don't know that I need a Lowe's card, a Menards card, a JCPenney card, a Kohl's card, a AutoZone credit card, and I don't need all these cards.
Well, here's the thing. I have both Lowe's and Home Depot but I will I very, very, very seldom anymore. When we first bought the house, I opened up a Lowe's card.
Oh, yeah.
Never had one before. Because you always got the financing offers.
Yeah.
6 months, same as cash.
Or a percentage off.
Right. Well, back then, 10 years ago, it was always, 6, 12, 18 months, depending on how much you buy. That made it easier to buy stuff for the house. Plain and simple. And having both the Home Depot and the Lowe's card made it easier to balance it out.
Yeah.
But, like you said, now...
It's almost like the loyalty cards,
Yeah, it really is. Actually, my Sam's credit card is still just a Sam's card, but that can be used at Walmart also.
Yeah. Which I have done that occasionally. I did that for Christmas one year. So, but anyway, we are getting to the point. It's almost 8:30. So let's go ahead and get up on the double feature movie review. And then if this goes too fast because there's just the two of us, then we will move on and we'll do a story after the review. But we want to make sure that we get the review in on time. And we got right into reviews from Colin, which is always good. So I say we go ahead and we do the movies tonight were Two Night Stand and GridLocked. One from Amazon Prime and Two Night Stand is from Amazon Prime and GridLocked is from Netflix. So why don't we go ahead and do the Amazon Prime, the Two Night Stand first, Mike? That works for you?
That works for me.
All right, and we'll start off by saying that Colin lost his battle with the flu in trying to watch this movie. So he is a DNF for this one. Did not finish. All right, and here is my review for Two Night Stand. Amazon Prime brings us a unique romantic comedy that tells the story of Megan and Alec. Megan is a pre-med graduate with no direction or ambition in life who was cheated on by the man she thought would be her future husband. Her lack of direction and ambition are a direct result of her desire to really be nothing more than a housewife and mother, which there's nothing wrong with. However, when you're graduated and now single, that option is taken off the table. So what does her frustrated roommate decide is in her best interest? Well, the obvious answer, a one-night stand. A chance to knock the funk off her sex life, and an opportunity to just have the apartment for herself and her boyfriend for the evening. Enter the wonderful world of online hookups. See, this is why this movie couldn't have been made before the year 2000, because these types of things didn't really happen in this flippant type of way until then. At least that's what I'm blaming for myself never getting a midnight booty PM. So, after a few failed sups, enter Alec, who passed the weirdo room test, but the next morning fails the memorable name test, and I have to say I agree, Alec is the first draft of a name. While they were making what turns out to be a clumsy whoopee, a snowstorm rolled in and barricaded the door, so in the next morning, after the uncomfortable, typical next morning routine and a bit of yelling, Megan realizes that she now has to stay with Alec because there's absolutely no chance of rescue anytime soon. Thus begins a somewhat typical romantic comedy, but with an interesting twist of learning and discovering that I have to admit I enjoyed. It's true women and men don't really talk openly about what each other really wants in the bedroom. Hell, I wish that after 17 years of marriage I could have the same type of open discussion these two had after just a couple nights. Mind you, there are no active complaints, but I'm always looking to up my game, and from the movie the results seem mutually satisfactory. I won't give any more of the movie away, but because it would just ruin the rest. But There's breaking and entering, getting high, fights, and the typical prison scene we've gotten all too familiar with this genre of movies. Am I right? This was a good flick. And if you're looking for a good date night movie, especially one to watch halfway through on the way to Whoopie Town, then I would suggest this one. This gets a well-deserved solid smile from me.
Yeah.
Hey. Hello, Serbia. Sorry, we don't talk Serbanese.
What Serbanese is, but
I don't either.
All right, so how freaking sad is it that in the opening sequence, after the conversations during the last show, first thing that pops into my head is, hey, she have fake nipples on? The roommate, female roommate, I hate her. Took the place of Alara on the Orville, and I don't like her there either. Sexiled. I'm being sexiled by my roommate. That's a new one to me. I mean, I don't know. I've never heard that one. Something about this guy having pallets for a headboard makes me think that he's got a pair of Birkenstocks hiding somewhere. Let's just put this out there. I've never had a one-night stand. Closest I've ever had was making out with a friend's girlfriend's roommate in college after a party. So I have no frame of reference as to whether this type of morning after conversation is even normal. He gets high with what is essentially a total stranger. She's wearing jeans at that point. Now they're playing ping pong, and her jeans are gone. Who the hell did the editing for this movie? They're going all Mission Impossible just because she's got a shit. And this is why you don't get high with folks that don't always get high. Now a woman is proposing to have sex in the name of science. The frick kind of bizarro world is this? Did I miss something here? What happened? Well, props to him for suggesting they film it for posterity and for scientific evidence. And gives her a raspberry en route to the Southland. That just doesn't. I don't care what science experiment you're doing. I don't care where that. There's no way ever that is cool. Okay, just the thing that I ignored up until the point when she leaves the apartment the next day is that she still went out despite the storm of the century coming. And it makes very little sense. No sense at all. You'd think like the Uber driver would have mentioned something or, yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's the whole Bright Eyes moment of this whole movie. But then the guy is genius, using the note that she left as evidence to help the cops track her down. Despite the fact that could have completely destroyed any chance with her, I give this guy a lot of credit. So, Puke to Shnikes, I gave this a chuckle. I think that the movie was entertaining despite its flaws. Yeah, it was a little awkward at some points, but it's a sad commentary on the dating scene out there these days. And that is a scene, thankfully, I am not part of anymore.
Yeah, I don't know that I could get back into that scene even if I wanted to. You know, even if everything went to hell in a handbasket, I don't know that I could do that.
No.
It would be rough. All right. Next up, GridLocked from Netflix. I will go ahead and read Colin's review first. With the disclaimer, Colin is typing this on his phone, laying on the couch, and the laptop is just too far away. Typing it now since it will take a while. This was at 7. Not too bad. Review number 2, GridLocked. GridLocked is yet another movie influenced by one of his favorite movies, Rio Bravo. Rio Bravo was a movie starring John Wayne and directed by Howard Hawks. Hawks himself remade the movie 2 more times, El Dorado and Rio Lobo. John Carpenter made 2 versions of Rio Bravo with Assault on Precinct 13, which has also been remade, and Ghost of Mars. GridLocked is yet another remake with Dominic Purcell playing the Duke's part and Cody Hackman playing the Dean Martin part. Danny Glover, complete with being too old line, is on board replacing Walter Brennan. The problem is what starts as an interesting character piece on the kid size with great actor sides. I think you meant side. With great actors like Saul Rubinek gets completely lost once the actual siege starts. Once the siege starts, any interesting characters get killed as quickly as possible because the movie only has time for mindless action. In the end, you are left struggling to figure out why the whole kid storyline had anything to do at all with the movie as a whole. I give this movie a smirk. It was better than meh. It was well made, but the storyline seems to have been lost on the editing table. So Colin gives it a meh.
No, Colin gave it a smirk.
Oh, Colin. Yeah, Colin gave it a smirk. All right, here's mine. A movie that combines Nick Rory from Legends of Tomorrow, Commander Nathaniel Taylor from Terra Nova, Sphinx from Gone in 60 Seconds, Artie from Warehouse 13, and Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon. Well, sign me up right now. I couldn't have been more excited to watch this movie. It's got the greats from all my favorite TV shows and movies, and it promises lots of action. To be honest, I knew I was setting myself up for a huge fall. It's happened before. We've gotten super excited about a movie based on a cast, and then it's a total turd. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's happened. For once, I wasn't let down. If you're an action guy, then this movie is for you. You've got more bullets than being shot in Baghdad. You've got gassing. You've got blood spurting from wounds. You've got inner fighting between commandos. This movie literally has it all. And guess what? They actually fixed one of the biggest plot holes in all action movies. So here it is. It's typical. All the bad guys are wearing body armor. But all you see is chest hits, and boom, they go down. Well, not in this one. Dominic Purcell, a.k.a. David Hendricks, actually makes a point to tell his team to aim for the face and knees. Brilliant writing. So here's a quick synopsis. Hollywood bad boy Brody Walker, played by Cody Hackman, gets in trouble for DUI and assault, and in order to avoid real jail, he is assigned to tag along with police. Who is his partner? David Hendricks, of course. Ex-SWAT member who's out of commission right now while recovering from a bullet wound. Not only is he ex-SWAT, but of course he's ex-Special Forces too. If you thought his character on Legends was tough, this is a whole new level. So after saving Brody's life in the police station, Hendricks takes the kid to the SWAT headquarters to try and get him to fly straight. Luckily, that's the same night that Stephen Lang, playing Corver, decides he's going to try and break into the HQ to steal drug-seized bearer bonds that the feds secretly stored in a hidden basement. Now Hendricks and his old crew, along with Hollywood Brody, have to defend the place and the loot from Corver and his hired guns. But there's an inside man. Who is it? I'm not going to ruin it for you, but there is plenty of action to keep you guessing, and I really enjoyed this movie. Rating is a big shnikes from me. It's going to go on the rewatch list, and that's a high achievement. P.S. The credit scene should have been left on the editing floor. Not needed at all.
Didn't they do a movie like this already with Eddie Murphy?
You mean like Ride Along or something?
Colin was talking about all it is, but like Showtime, where he was an actor that acted like a cop who paired up with a real cop.
Yeah. No nonsense. LAPD direct detective Robert De Niro is forced to star in a reality-based television show with frustrated actor turned LAPD patrolman Eddie Murphy.
Okay. So loosely based on this.
Mm-hmm.
I sat here watching this movie, just vaguely interested. I don't know what the hell you guys watched, but nothing major was jumping out at me to even comment about during this movie, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Then Captain Frost, Mick from Legends, kills the Juggernaut. That's the person that I was saying was the other.
Oh, was he that?
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Oh, okay.
By stuffing a grenade into his vest. It was perhaps one of the dumbest, yet at the same time coolest things I have seen in a movie in a long time. It's very Christian Slater-ish. Like, it sucks, but it's good, but it sucks at the same time. All right, so without spoiling it, when we find out who the traitor is, I was like, wow, that really blows donkey balls. And the way she died, or he, the way the traitor died.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I know. Truthfully, I literally, this is all I wrote about this movie. So I gave it a meh. It really didn't do anything for me. It wasn't bad. Maybe if I rewatched it, I would give it a better rating, but it wasn't anything special. And honestly, I think I was more turned off by the fact that that Dominic's voice is not the way it is in Legends of Tomorrow. Like, I thought his voice was really that gruff. I never watched Prison Break, which was his other big role before all of this. I thought his voice was really just as gruff as it is on Legends. So I was kind of having trouble focusing on what he was doing, what he was saying. So not terrible, not the worst movie we've ever watched. That's for damn sure. But I don't know, it's nowhere near Schneike World for me, man.
I just thought it combined so many people I like.
Firmware upgrade required. Jeez.
I was trying to find. There's a movie, but oh god, trying to remember who in the hell is all in it.
What was it about?
It's about the same thing. There are so many movies about actors riding along with cops. Obviously, there's a movie called Ride Along. There's a sequel to that. There is. But
Ride Along was a brother-in-law riding along with a cop.
Right, but there was. Oh God, dang it!
It was Superbad, where the kid McLovin was riding along with the cops.
Let's see here. I think it was a Michael J. Fox movie, but I don't remember. I can't remember if he was in one, but I thought that he was in one. The Hard Way, with James Woods. Yeah, that's it. Seeking to raise his credibility as an actor and to land a role as a tough cop on a new show, Hollywood actor star Nick Lang, played by Michael J. Fox, works a deal with New York City Police Captain Captain Bricks, Delroy Lindo, who by chance is one of his fans. Nick will be paired with Detective Lieutenant John Moss, played by James Woods, and will learn how to act like a real cop. Yep. It's got Stephen Lang in it.
All right, so before we move on to pick the next movies...
Uh-huh.
I do feel like we need to say something real quick about today's big news, because every female in our age bracket in the world
is mourning.
Is not having a good day.
No, they're not.
Because Luke Perry passed away.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe some of the I mean, I know that girl, stop. Here comes that date. Okay.
So
trying to avoid a copyright by talking over it.
So
I just can't believe how hard people are taking it. I mean, look, Luke Perry was a good actor and he seemed like a genuine nice guy, but damn.
I mean, he, it seems like he had been somewhat active. Not really. But obviously, if you don't remember him from 90210, he was in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. Supposedly he was in The Fifth Element, although I don't remember him in there. He was in the movie The Heist.
He was in The Fifth Element. He was in the very beginning. He was the guy that was with the professor.
Oh, okay. So very early.
He was the one that actually shot the Mondachiwan.
Okay. So very early in that movie. He was in those are really the big movies that you would know him from.
90210 and most recently Smallville.
Yeah.
Played Archie's dad. So
evidently he was in Riverdale.
All right, that's what I meant. Not Smallville.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's always horrible when somebody dies early. And at 52, I would consider him still fairly early. And supposedly there is talks about a 90210 reboot.
It is happening. He had his stroke the day that the promo aired. They're doing a limited event.
So, he has 2 children, Jack and Sophie, who are fairly young, born in 97 and 2000. Young-ish. I mean, they're both in their 20s, almost. His son Jack is a professional wrestler known by Jungle Boy, who signed to AEW. but Perry became an advocate for testing for colon cancer. Other than that, the most recent medical news is, the massive stroke that he had on February 27th, and then he died from complications due to that, which, Mike, both you and I know how damaging a stroke can be to people. And, it's never anything anybody wants to go through or deal with. But, sometimes they come on hard and they come on fast, and not everybody always recovers from them, unfortunately. So
very sad. Very young, too.
Yeah. So, that's, but yeah, no, the fandom around him has been pretty amazing, because that show was iconic when we were growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, every girl watched it in the world, and everybody wanted to be there with him, wanted to be with Dylan. 199 episodes is what he was on that show. That's a pretty decent run for a television show in the 90s.
Yeah.
It ran from 90 to 95 and then 98 to 2000. That is a pretty good run. So, yeah. And then we had a suicide from the lead singer from The Prodigy today, announced as well. So it was a pretty sad day today in entertainment, really.
Also had NHL Hall of Famer Ted Lindsay, who was the player he was the first one after winning the Stanley Cup to take the cup and skate around the ice with it and hand it off to. So he started that tradition, which still holds today. So yeah, rough.
It seems like we go through these where there is a drought of no one, and then there is just this day where it's like madness. And today also happened to be an anniversary for John Candy's passing. 25 years ago today, John Candy passed away. And I told my wife that, and she's like, I cannot believe it's been 25 years.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
exactly. Yeah. I agree with that.
And actually, I retweeted on our Twitter, Ryan Reynolds' production company, Van City, actually put together a tribute video using some of his most iconic appearances in movies and television. And so I retweeted that today. So if you are a follower of ours on Twitters, or if you have a chance, look for Ryan Reynolds, Van City, and watch that video. It's a very well done piece, and evidently it was endorsed by John Candy's children. So you can't find any bigger. Christopher and Jennifer Candy, actually made comments on that video, and were very impressed with it and happy that Ryan Reynolds did that. So, that's pretty cool. And I was reading through some of the comments, and Eugene Levy was interviewed by one of the guys making comments, and the guy said, when I brought up Armed and Dangerous, Eugene actually almost cried because nobody ever asked him about that movie. And it's one of his favorites because he got to star with John Candy. Yeah. And so, I think about that movie quite a bit. I like that movie, and it's not one of the more mainstream John Candy movies, but I think it was a hilarious movie. So, yep, another funny guy gone way too soon. So,
all right. So now that we've completely sucked the life out of the show,
yeah, now that we have completely bummed you out, let's make ourselves upset by picking the next two horrible movies that we have to watch. So, Mike, what are we up to now? 41, 42?
No, 36.
36. Boy, we are whittling them down. And for those of you that don't know, we pick two movies, as we just did, and we review them to let you know if there are any diamonds in the rough, like GridLocked, currently on Netflix, that you need to watch. We will let you know how it is. And you can take my word for it, who is an expert in movies and action and adventure and, good actors. Or you can listen to Mike, who liked The Cobbler. All right. So Mike, number 13, Lucky 13.
Oh, God. I know this is still on there because this is an original. Let me see.
And for those of you that are wondering, well, why do you pick these movies that are horrible? Listen, folks, we just come up with a list of movies that are from the recommended lists So it's the whole thing of Netflix watches what you watch and say, hey, you watch this, you might be interested in this. Or Amazon Prime says, hey, you're watching this. These are also along the same lines. We add those to a list, and then we randomly pick 2 of them every week. Or every
All
show.
right, so number 13 is on Netflix. It's a horror comedy called The Babysitter.
The Babysitter. I am not big on horror comedies, but let's see what we got. That is looking... Bella Thorne. When Cole stays up past his bedtime, he discovers that his hot babysitter belongs to a satanic cult that will stop at nothing to keep him quiet. So yeah, it looks babysitter has committed a crime by revealing its key plot points in the trailer. Utter trash, poor in every respect. I think we got a real winner here, Mike. I think that's going to be awesome. All right, and 36.
Well, this one I'm sure is still available because it was
Recent
the last
edition.
one added. Oh, God, this is going to be painful. Badasses on the Bayou on Netflix.
Let's see. Yes. That would be a drama action movie that stars nobody anybody will know. Frank Vega and Bernie Pope travel to Louisiana to attend their dear friend's wedding. The trip, however, turns violently ugly, pressing the senior heroes to once again serve justice. Oh, I'm sorry. It does have people you know. So it's got
I was going to say.
It's got Donnie Trejo, Danny Glover, Lonnie Love, John Amos, and Jimmy Bennett. Yep, sorry. So it looks like actually Danny Trejo and Danny Glover. So we're double Dannying down. Looks like they are the lead characters, which means that they will be there for about 10 minutes if it's anything like the other movies that star them. Oh my God, Danny Trejo is wearing a fanny pack on the cover. This is going to be awesome. If it's anything like the Pool Boy movie, it's going to be great. So, yep. It's weird. Danny Trejo looks like Fidel Castro in this movie. Don't know why he did that, but that's the look that he went for. Did you notice that, Mike?
No, I did not.
Yep. For some reason, he looks like Fidel Castro. So those are the 2 movies that we're going to review on the next show. Hopefully, Colin will be back by then if his bout with polio is over. We covered a lot of stuff this show, Mike, just you and me.
Yes, we did.
And we hope that since the person has now claimed the $1.5 billion Jack Point Mega Millions winner, that they remember that they can always donate to their show, PTR Radio, and help us reach even more people. Don't forget that if you want to help the show, the best way you can do that is to tell your friends and let them know that you listen. Just send them to ptrradio.com or all the social media channels at PTR Radio. And let them know about the show. Get them subscribed to the podcast. Subscribe yourself to the podcast and get that thing downloaded. Send us an email, show@PTR Radio. Let us know what you thought. If you're in Serbia, please write in English. Like I said, we don't know Serbianese, but we did watch a great movie that was dubbed in English that I think was close to where you are, and we gave it great reviews. Right, Mike?
About Guardians?
Yes, Guardians.
Yes.
Yeah, so we really like your Guardians movie. Please keep up the good work there. All right, folks, with that said, I'm Shaggy.
I'm Mike the Ape Man.
All right, folks, stick a fork in us because we are done. Later.